Now, if you're employed, you probably haven't heard the fact that there has been some massive drama within the Helldivers community with Arrowhead's content creator team, and also plenty of the Helldivers content creators have been quitting the game, or at least for now, as they've put it. Arrowhead staff basically just made an oopsie poopsie sort of situation with their creator team to the point where it is just quite frankly a little bit embarrassing now. And to fill you guys in on the drama, basically, it's finally catching into some of the gaming news outlets. We have a post from Fandom Wire and Games Radar. Helldivers 2 players meltdown, accuse Arrowhead of becoming real-life Ministry of Truth over YouTube drama, and get a response from the CEO. We work with a partner for the propaganda commanders. And it's also kind of crazy to see some of the theories in the main Discord. If you haven't watched Arrowhead's video, I recommend giving it a watch. It's a very well put together essay on how he was treated by the content creator program. And it's to the point of all the content creators quitting the game for now at the same time. I have seen conspiracy theories basically saying that we're all doing this at the same time. I even saw someone in the main Discord say that Arrowhead is getting paid by the Path of Exile devs to get Helldivers to quit the game. And basically all it comes down to why a lot of the content creators are taking a break right now is because they're having performance issues. They are hard locking in the game. The first frame of like Takibo's video on why he's quitting, he shows that he has like this crazy screen tear when his computer hard locked while he was playing Helldivers. And like, it's just one of those things that's fairly obvious to most people why you would take a break from the game at that point. But for those of you who are possibly unemployed and, defending the big game studio and saying, oh, there's no issues with the game, there's no performance problems, just think about it like this. Whenever your computer hard locks to the point where you have to restart it, that's an uncomfortable situation. It's like when you drop your phone on the bus and you go to pick it up, and while you're picking it up, you're like, I hope the screen didn't break. And then you take a look down at it and the screen is still fine. And then you take a sigh of relief, but then you're like, I never want to drop my phone again. That's all it really comes down to. Any content creator who posted that they're quitting the game for now is probably just simply having performance issues. Okay, so we have this Fandom Wire article now being posted about the creator program drama, which is a separate conversation entirely from the performance issues and why people are quitting the game. Helldivers 2 just speed ran, turning its creator program into an actual Ministry of Truth situation, and the irony couldn't be thicker if you spread it on toast. Over the past week, Arrowhead's Propaganda Commanders initiative has imploded spectacularly as creators get removed for mild criticism, systemically excluded for months despite merit, and watch their expensive hardware get fried, all while making content for a game that apparently wants them gone anyway. And then they shared a meme, wait, Arrowhead is censoring criticism? I thought the Ministry of Truth was just in-game. The timing couldn't be worse either. Liberty Day approaches on October 26. Player counts keep dropping, and the studio just announced delaying content updates to fix performance issues that Into the Unjust created back in early September. Losing your loudest advocates during a crisis when you need them most, that's what they call a humongous L nowadays. Everything you need to know about the last crisis. So Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear got removed from the program on October 10th after refusing to self-censor a video discussing engine overhaul rumors. The disrespectful part, though, he was reading an article debunking clickbait and misinformation that was actually defending Arrowhead's position. And the funny thing is, the guy who wrote this article was the guy who wrote the article in the Buzz video. I'm pretty sure I'll mention that in a second. For 7 seconds, his October 9th video showed YouTube search results displaying clickbait thumbnails while discussing the problem. Program management demanded he remove that specific clip. He politely declined on principle and was immediately kicked out. But that article he was reading, it was written by yours truly, where we called out AI-generated thumbnails with all caps titles about massive engine update based on absolutely nothing, and criticized manufactured hype for algorithm engagement. Now, Buzz, like us, was literally doing damage control for the studio, educating his 353K subscriber audience about realistic expectations, and got punished for briefly showing examples of the clickbait ecosystem while condemning it. Now, for what it's worth, I don't even think Buzz was like condemning it. His 7-second clip in the video was like just the YouTube search results of engine update, because the article he was reading was the one condemning it, and he was just presenting it. That hits way too close to home, making a satirical game about totalitarian propaganda while simultaneously trying to control your creator community's narrative. The jokes write themselves, except nobody's laughing because careers and livelihoods are involved. But Buzz isn't alone. The situation gets significantly worse when you look at the full pattern. Arrowhead's year-long gatekeeping nightmare. He reached out multiple times in 2024, expressing interest, 0 responses. February 2025, he was not invited to the Sweden trip, despite being top 12 by viewership. He was told, "We have plans for you. We love that guy," publicly on streams. DM'd February 11th. "God damn, do they hate me for not inviting you?" with more promises. He was then redirected to third-party management, who kept delaying it for months. In July 2025, he was finally told his attitude disqualified him after waiting. He was asked to rehabilitate disposition for 6 weeks after venting frustration. He completed the requested period, then completely ghosted while new players were added. And now in October 2025, he's retiring his Helldiver-themed VTuber model, drastically reducing content. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, what I'll say about this is it's like how Arrowhead treats creators of the game doesn't really affect the game. Like, that's not something you would put in like a negative Steam review, for example. Not that I'm telling you what to write in your Steam review. If you want to negatively review them for this, then by all means, go ahead. But like, what I'm trying to get at is it has nothing to do with the game itself. It's just a really bad look, and it looks really unprofessional how they treat people. Personally, I feel that Arrowhead is one of the largest creators for this game. He's well liked. He's well respected by thousands of people. He literally started his channel working on Helldivers 2, and he has 75,000 subscribers since the game came out. Like, and the vast majority of those subscribers are from Helldivers. And ultimately, like, why would you disqualify him based on his attitude when his attitude was really just like a few salty comments on stream about how he didn't get invited? Because if you were watching the Stockholm stream and all your friends were there meeting each other, you would be a little bit salty too. Now, did they exclude him at first on purpose because they didn't like him or something? I don't know, but let's just say that that's not why they excluded him. There were only so many seats. Okay, I would still be salty, bro. Like, it's a completely logical, like, human emotion to feel when you're excluded for something. And he streams, like, if his emotions come out a little bit while he's streaming, then like that's what happens. And he didn't even say anything that crazy either. Now, the other thing as well is it's like Buzz's video where it's the 7-second clip where he just shows the YouTube search results for engine updates. And then he says, interesting. And then they kick him out for that as well. That's not that crazy either. It's not like he showed the thumbnails and was like, these guys are clickbaiters, go unsubscribe to them, they're horrible people. Like, it's not like he went off the deep end. He literally showed that that's what the article was referencing, and he said, interesting, and then he moved on. So it's like the reaction to just like a milquetoast comment about it is like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's just unprofessional. It's not a good look. And it's like how you do small things is how you end up doing big things. And I think there's like deeper implications there. So then the article talks about the hardware destruction epidemic. Clay Aesthetics Game Guard memory dump killed his SSD. Now, if you actually watch Clay's video on this, he even talks about a lot of people tried to say Clay was wrong. It was the Windows 11 update, but none of them watched Clay's video where he actually goes in depth. And he talks about the Windows 11 update first thing into the video. Clay never claimed that it was straight up Game Guard that killed his SSD. What had happened was he was recording a Helldivers game, and his video file got corrupted, which Game Guard has known issues with corrupting files or corrupting video files. It is a kernel level anti-cheat. It does kernel level processes. I don't know the exact technical terms, but it can corrupt files. That is a known issue that Game Guard has had. Helldivers is not the first game Game Guard has been on. Game Guard was on MapleStory 10 years ago. Okay, this is a known issue with this anti-cheat. And what had happened was the Windows 11 update was bricking SSDs when a file that was too large was written. So his original claim was not that GameGuard bricked his SSD. It was that GameGuard corrupted a recording that then made it too large, which essentially triggered the Windows update failure. So there we go. Odo, GameGuard hardlocked PC, bricked his CPU, had to buy a replacement. Now, again, I don't exactly know all the details of Odo's case. I wouldn't imagine that it was just simply playing Helldivers that bricked his CPU. But what I would imagine is that he was Alt F4ing looking for a mission seed a lot. And GameGuard has another issue where sometimes when you close the game, it doesn't unhook properly. And then when you reopen the game, or if you reopen a different game, your CPU can cook a little hotter and you will end up having worse performance. Every time you close Helldivers, check your task manager and make sure that GameGuard is closed, okay? And again, this is a known issue on GameGuard's website, and they say if GameGuard doesn't unhook properly, you have to full restart your computer to make sure it closes all the processes before you go do something else. So did GameGuard brick Odo's CPU directly? Probably not, but there are weird processes where it could have caused it to overheat, and then a vulnerability between his CPU and motherboard essentially came out quicker. And then there is also Takibo, Phase Shifter, and others, constant screen tearing, hard locks, forcing stream interruptions and breaks. And yeah, this one's just pretty much flat true. When Takibo's playing Helldivers, he has a hard lock issue where he has to full restart his computer to fix it. And the first frame of his video was a horrible looking screen tear. Bro, it was horrendous. Like, I would be very wary of playing Helldivers if it's causing screen tearing. Anyways, program perks creating unfair competition, free instant unlocked war bonds, hours of grinding advantage during peak viewership, advanced update timing notice when to be online for algorithm boost, NDA access to patch notes before public release, direct developer communication channel, and official promotion from Arrowhead socials. Now, these are perks if you're in the content creator program, and, you know, Arrowhead was citing that, like, he wanted to take advantage of these perks. I think that's valid. Outside creators like Arrowhead competing without these advantages during Warbond launches and major updates, they're essentially handicapped from the starting line while being told it's their attitude holding them back, not systematic exclusion. Now, this is the part that's unfair, is that it's like their attitude is holding them back. What I will say, as someone who is a content creator who's made content for other games, and I watched a bunch of other content creators on creator programs that I didn't have access to, just post your content anyway. Like, whenever I covered Borderlands, which is what I started my channel on, a lot of the creators were on a creator program before I was ever part of it for Borderlands, and I just made my videos anyway. Ultimately, what's going to get you popular is not these creator programs. Like, these creator programs, like, realistically, in my opinion, the only, like, nice thing about it is when they decide to pay you for, like, sponsored streams or sponsored videos. That is the biggest perk, in my opinion, when you can actually get a paycheck from them. It is nice, some of these other perks, for sure, but personally, like, these other perks are not as much of an advantage as you would think, in my opinion. And the only reason anyone who's successful, who's on the creator program, is successful in the first place is from their own content. So, like, ultimately, I'm not trying to say it's not unfair, because it was unfair, but what I'm trying to say is, like, don't let it get you down. Definitely make content, make good content. Like, there's heavy competition for just mass amounts of content, but there's actually low competition for really good content on YouTube. If you make really good content that people resonate with, you will gain an audience after some time. All right, so then they say the Ministry of Truth comparison stops being funny when you realize creators are being evaluated not on content quality, viewership metrics, or community value, but on willingness to stay quiet about legitimate problems affecting their ability to work. Buzz had a full-time job and called YouTube his passion project. Aaron pioneered the Ghost Diver stealth gameplay strategies and created extensive Helldivers guides helping thousands. Both brought measurable value. Both got shut out for not staying silent. And then they said CEO deflects responsibility to mysterious third party nobody knew existed. All that being said, Arrowhead boss Shams Giordini has since finally addressed the situation on Discord and somehow made everything worse with a single sentence. Sham said, one thing I'll say is that we work with a partner for the propaganda commander, so I'll have to check in there and see what's what. Personally, I don't understand how this necessarily makes it worse. I guess because I knew there was a third party who worked with the program anyway. And like, I don't know. But like, he's the CEO of a company. He doesn't know everything that's going on in the day to day. You know, he's a C-level executive. But with that being said, the writer of this article, and I'm sure some of you think that this makes it worse, and I guess that's fair. So check in there and see what's what. This partner has been systematically excluding your top creators for over a year, demanding attitude adjustments for expressing frustration, and removing people for reading articles defending your studio. If Arrowhead leadership genuinely didn't know about any of this until creators started publicly retiring their Helldivers identities, that's arguably worse than knowing and approving it. I can see where this is coming from. That's fair. In classic Arrowhead fashion, this partner has been severely mishandled. If the situation was able to go on for this long without a single person in the studio being aware of it, of course I have severe doubts this partner exists outside the studio. Okay, so look, see, this is where, like, bro, this is Shams logging off of Battlefield for the day and seeing the drama news and being like, oh shit, I better go check out what's going on. Like, do you really think nobody at Arrowhead knew what was going on? So I think that's a crazy assumption to say that nobody at Arrowhead knew what was going on. I'm sure the middle management knew what was going on. That's my opinion. I don't know if they know what's going on, but I would think it was crazy if like whoever was in middle management had no idea about any of this. That would be crazy. So exactly right. Either they genuinely have zero oversight or over a program using their branding and giving out privileged information under NDA, or this partner deflection is convenient cover for decisions they'd rather not own publicly. Neither option looks good when your community already has trust issues from subpar communication practices, weapon balance overcorrections, and technical debt admissions. Even when you work with third parties, there should still be oversight from Arrowhead. You can outsource labor, but not responsibility. So I guess people took this Shams comment as they had no idea what was going on. It's just all outsourced. I'm just going to say that that's not true. That's just flat out not true. Indeed, you can't just slap propaganda commanders branding on a program, give participants NDAs with privileged studio info, fly them to Sweden headquarters, then claim ignorance when mismanagement drives away your best advocates. Okay, so look, I'll tell you how I read this Shams thing. How I read this was the CEO is finally finding out what's happening and somebody's getting a phone call. Like, he probably didn't know, and he's going to be like, yo, what's going on? So someone's getting a phone call, and I would imagine the situation will be resolved very soon, and someone's definitely getting in trouble. The community isn't buying it either. Reddit threads discussing Giordini's response are filled with skepticism about whether this third party even exists, or if it's just Arrowhead employees operating under a different organizational label. Okay, so this is where it's just pure speculation. There is a third party that runs the propaganda commanders. The worst part, October 26th Liberty Day needs to deliver something spectacular to restore goodwill after Into the Unjust disaster, rupture strain removal, and now this creator exodus. But who's going to hype it up when you've systemically pushed away the people with the biggest megaphones? Can't propagandize for managed democracy when your propaganda commanders keep quitting or get it removed for telling the truth. Well, it seems like the propaganda commanders weren't spreading the right propaganda. Who could have guessed it? Does Arrowhead handling of the creator program feel like mismanagement or intentional gatekeeping? Should studios have direct oversights over programs using their branding? Let us know in the comments below. All right, so what I will say is a lot of people on this program are larger creators, and they have their priorities straight, okay? Do you know who pays my bills? My viewers. You guys watching this video, you guys pay my light bill, okay? Not Arrowhead Studios. So when those are your priorities, then who are you going to sort of make your content for? Who are you going to look out for? Who are you going to be biased towards? So if you have your priorities straight, then you know who's paying your light bills, and you know who you're going to make your content for, and you know who you're going to look out for. That's why I mentioned, like, one of the best parts of these programs is when you can get your stream sponsored, or when you can get your YouTube video sponsored, which I never have, by the way, right? Maybe I would be a little bit more biased if I did, Send me a paycheck. But point being, like, I feel like a lot of people end up getting into creator programs because there has been this thing in the past where you'll see a content creator you like get into a creator program, and then all of a sudden they never say anything bad about that game again. I feel like people who end up doing that get their priorities just mixed up because ultimately, like, who made you popular in the first place? It was yourself and it was your audience. Like, you don't need to sell out to these bigger studios who ultimately just want you for promotion. Like, you have to be very objective and understand what these deals are. Like, these deals is they're buying your channel for promotion. Okay? Don't get that mixed up and don't sell out your audience. I feel like people get into these programs and then they say, like, oh, don't bite the hand that feeds you. The hand that feeds me is my audience. Okay? When I go live, I get donations. Like, I'm very grateful for the donations I get when I go live of people who enjoy the content, not for some content creator program I get on. I'm trying to get on a content creator program for perks, okay? Not for, like, to see what I can get. And ultimately, it's like I said, none of this really has anything to do with the game, but it is wild for me to see that in the Helldivers community, before anyone was ever on a program, there was always very little drama. Like, I would say there was just a little bit of drama in, like, balance opinions where people would flame each other. And now there's this, like, huge content drama, and who caused it? Yet again, all the problems within the community. It surprisingly wasn't the player base. Once again. So personally, like, this is just all, like, a bit unprofessional. It all needs revamped and reworked, and it is obviously not being handled correctly. And that is coming from someone who is just a fat, dumbass gamer who makes YouTube videos. Like, I'm not even professional, and I can tell that this is unprofessional. So take that as you will, and hope I filled you guys in on the situation. See you guys next time.